This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What is poppin', everybody? And welcome to another episode of the Only Friends podcast, where I'm joined by my only friends.
Which includes
my sidekick, Conrad Simpson, who is over here to my left. The tortilla bit is fucking dead.
Guapo, did you put my goddamn camera on yet?
Sad Morocco.
It's a
goddamn conspiracy.
My boy Tortua is in the building! What's poppin', Tortua?
Goddamn conspiracy.
Oh no, these fucking guys are out of control.
Yeah.
How much did he pay him to do that?
It was
Oh,
purposeful.
we're going to have to go to you, Berkey. I accidentally forgot to open Conrad's camera. Yeah, bullshit.
That's our editor taking constructive feedback from the audience, and we appreciate that. Thank you, Guapo.
The audience as in you?
Whatever, man. We've reached a consensus. The tortilla bit has to die.
The consensus is only between you and Landon.
That's fine.
That's not enough.
I don't know if I don't know if you're aware of this, but we pay the goddamn bills.
I'm sorry, that's not enough. Sorry.
Nobody's watching. They're all watching the Pirates.
It's true.
Yeah,
I do pay my bills. I just tried to do my taxes.
He was waiting to say that.
All right, wait. Please tell the audience the story of how you went about your taxes this year. And I want the full lead up to yesterday.
The lead up to yesterday was I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to get yelled at.
Mm-hmm.
And I just took an estimate as to what I had go through my bank account last year.
How did you do this?
I looked at a tax estimation. I know how much money goes through my bank account.
So you just, on 3 days after taxes were due, because yesterday was the 19th, I believe?
No, they were doing the 18th this year because the 15th fell on a weekend.
Oh, I see. Okay, so yesterday was tax day.
Yeah, he got him in time.
Mm-hmm. And you just decided, like, no accountant necessary.
I came up with a number.
You just randomly pulled a number from air.
And I paid that number.
And did you have that money in your bank account?
No. So I had to get a negative bank account, got wired money from a friend. So I'm back. I'm back, baby. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm back.
He panic paid his taxes.
Panic.
Without actually filing his like, he didn't file a return.
Is there a... Wait.
This isn't a thing.
Did you even file a return? No, right?
Who
No.
did you just wrote a check
money.
to the IRS?
Yeah.
He literally went to his bank account and said, okay, this is 20%. Here, let me send this to the IRS.
But you have to file.
Do you though?
Yes. You don't just send them money and be like, here you guys go.
That's what I said.
We're good, right?
That's what I said.
You could have wrote that down a lot, too. Like,
I probably did. I probably with the number that I put.
He
all right, let's not give away too much.
He sends a screenshot to the group of his negative bank balance. And I go, what are you doing? This is not how taxes work. You have to file a return and then pay your estimates, and then it gets worked out at the end. You need an accountant for this. And he's like, I just sent the money. Like, that's how it works. I owe, I pay. And I'm like, you're going to end up broke and in jail.
How do you know what you owe?
He doesn't.
Unless you file. Like, there's different, like, certain
Are you of the
here.
impression that, like, just whatever amount of money you earn in a year, it's just an auto 40% goes to the government?
No. I took some liberties. But at the same time, it's probably pretty accurate.
I bet you
I got
overpaid.
a text. I probably overpaid. Every single time I pay taxes, I've overpaid. I didn't give you guys 1099s. I just paid $60K.
Did you talk
Yeah,
to
dumb.
Did you talk to Jeff? He's an attorney for the IRS.
Well, that's not who he wants to talk to.
Well, no, but honestly, I mean, he might be able to be like, hey, like, you can get some of this money back if you do this, this, and this.
Apparently, if you file correctly, they just give you
A refund. You should get some sort of refund.
As
right?
the quote says from like the internet article, they will simply give you your money back. Well, that's wonderful.
Basically, you're just like, listen, I don't want to go to jail. Here's a whole pile of cash. You hold on to that. I'll go do my taxes at a later time, and then, we'll sort it out after that.
That's how extensions work,
This is
right?
way more than what I owe you, so don't put me in jail.
I mean, honestly,
It's kind of a decent strat.
obviously it's a ridiculous thing to do, but he's fading fees. So now, without having filed an extension, he's going to, by default, land with an extension.
Yeah.
and he's not going to get charged these absorbent fees between now and October.
What you're saying is I cooked.
I mean,
I think you got cooked.
you put a Band-Aid on a wound that needed many stitches.
I think we're on our way to universal health care and high speed rails everywhere. All thanks to you. You're going to pay for it all.
I'm doing so
I
much.
appreciate that.
Listen, man.
The American public, the people of America, thank you for your service.
Listen, I'm not the hero you
probably
guys
paid more
wanted. I'm
money
the
than
hero you
Elon
guys
Musk this
need.
year.
I've given so much money to taxes, though. I might be one of the best tax-paying citizens while not knowing how taxes works.
Yes.
Yeah.
All my friends, man, I know how to get out of this shit. Me, I'm like, I don't want to go to jail, man. Please leave me alone.
You've paid your unfair share. For
Honestly, for what it's worth, that's better than just not paying them at all.
No, yeah, of course.
It's way better than being
No,
ignoring
of course,
it.
but it's also just like, it's a system that's set up in a specific way where, you pay accountants to do their job and then you pay what you're told. Where for Landon, it was just like, I don't want to deal with all this 1099 bullshit. I'll just pay on money that isn't even mine.
I didn't want to tax my friends.
We appreciate you, sir.
Yeah.
That's our problem.
I should just collect some money from you guys off tax. Like, I paid all this money in tax, now you give me money.
No, because that's not that's the complicated part about taxes. Like, that's not how it works. $1 that you earn is not going to be taxed the same as $1 that I earn or $1 that person over here earns.
We should have an accountant on the podcast.
We should. Actually, yeah. If Teresa's ever not busy, I'll reach out to her.
No, because then she gets to yell at me on air.
That's true. Yeah, we don't want that.
Wait, we do want that.
No, we don't want
God.
that. Honestly.
I sent the text. I just wrote, hey, sorry for being such a terrible client. I'll be much better about this next year. She just goes like, better late than never. And it's like, what I wanted to say was what I did say. It's like, I just didn't want to get yelled at. And I said, yeah, sounds good. I'll talk to you soon. Oh, my God. I don't want to deal with this stuff, man.
Being an adult sucks, man.
I just want to.
You know?
It doesn't, but it does.
No,
it does.
Like,
I don't want to be the 12-year-old. People are like, oh, I wish I was 6 again. I don't want to be 6 again. I like the age I'm at, Early 20s is wonderful.
Sure.
But if there was stuff that I could outsource to not have to deal with fucking taxes and just pay them and be fine, please.
I mean, there is. You get an accountant. You still have to do a sliver of work, but it's answering questions like, where did this $9,000 come from that you randomly had hit your account? And you say, oh, that was from this thing, or I wanted a cash game or whatever. Like, you just you explain,
or I lost in a cash game.
Yeah, or you lost in a cash game, whatever. Like, you just explain why your bank activity looks the way it looks, and then at the end of the day, your ass is covered.
Yeah,
it's important to have your ass covered.
I wish I had a clone.
You know how they got all the mobsters?
Tax
evasion.
Yeah,
not because they kill people.
No,
they got away with that shit. Mm-hmm. They're all rotten in jail because they didn't pay the goddamn taxes.
That's exactly how they got Capone. They couldn't get him on anything else.
Yeah. Imagine. The biggest gangster of all time.
And the only reason why they got him on taxes, though, is because they were funneled into needing to get him on something.
It's also how they got Wesley Snipes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, Wesley.
I don't think he was actually doing anything else illegal. But.
Nah, he was just getting them good.
So what you're saying is, if you try to finesse the system, they'll get you.
Well, what I'm saying is, you have to be a part of the system. Like last year,
I did pay.
last year, or I guess 2 years ago, you said you had a break-even year.
I lost.
Okay, so you lost money. And then by proxy of that, you just didn't file a return.
Yeah, I lost.
That's not how it works.
I had many money in my bank account. At the end of the year, I had fucking zero.
Right, but that only works in your favor if you get audited, because now you can demonstrate that you didn't make any money that year.
I most certainly could demonstrate that.
But now you're likely to get audited because you just didn't file a fucking return.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I gave you guys so much money, leave me alone,
It's like
please.
attendance,
I fucking hate attendance.
You don't get credit for being in class if you don't raise your hand when they call your name.
The way it worked when I went to school in college was there was a little pin thing that you had to type in, and then once you did that, you got attendance for the day. So if you had a friend that just gave you what the code was, you got attendance.
No way.
Yeah.
Man, I would have graduated with high honors.
No, you
definitely did graduate with high honors if you stayed.
You would have had to
stoned all the time.
Graduated first.
Well, I would have graduated
He'd
if
have
I
been in
could
class
put the
every
code
day.
in. That's the only reason why I failed.
Because you weren't there?
Yeah, I passed all the tests.
Oh, all right.
That's how it works, right? You have to have a certain amount of percentage of attendance.
Yeah, I think I was out for 83% or something like that.
You basically went to school on weekends.
Something like that.
That's so weird. Like,
9th and 10th grade, I missed 83% of school.
missing school had like such a visceral like feeling inside of me of just wrongness.
Really?
Oh, man.
Yeah, like
Nah.
I could never miss like
Yeah,
half
I
the
know.
school days.
Right.
Like,
Between 3rd and 5th grade, I went home every day at right after gym. So like, so it was like 3 days out of the week. I would go home right after gym saying I had asthma. And I was just like, oh my God, I have an asthma attack. My mom would get on the phone with the nurse. She's like, I'm a doctor. Can you please tell this motherfucker to shut up and go back to class? And they're like, we can't do that. We have to let him go home. So I would just walk my ass right across the street home.
man,
You would really get
Delinquents.
sad about missing school?
not sad. I would get
Remorse?
like no. It was like a sense
Feel
of
like ashamed or like.
it was like a sense of like fear and like
Yeah.
fraught. Like I don't know. There would be like a certain pit to the like. It was a sense of irresponsibility.
right.
Like I had a certain sense of feeling responsible to doing what you're supposed to do at that age, which is go to school.
Yeah, in junior high
How
school.
are you 10 with this sense of responsibility? Just go to the park and have fun.
I mean, I didn't know people that like weren't going to school.
Even better, when in like junior
Right.
high
Everyone
school.
you knew was at school.
Yeah.
In
my
like junior
friends
high
were
school,
there.
I had this bed where it had like drawers underneath it, and then in the back of it there was like a hiding space that you can go underneath the bed. So every day I'd wake up and I'd just roll out of bed, act like I'm doing something, go shut my door, and then go right underneath my bed and go to sleep.
You know what it is too, Perk? It's like we went to such a small school. Is that if you weren't in school, everybody in school knew that you weren't in school that day.
Yeah, it was a
wasn't
topic
like-
of discussion.
Yeah, it wasn't like there was 3,000, 4,000 people at the school.
Topic of discussion.
That like
It was.
Yeah, it was. It's like why is he in school?
There was like
Something
5K
happened?
kids in my school. There was none of that.
I
Yeah,
probably
of
went hard the other way where I almost never missed. There were like many years where I missed like one or fewer days. Like I would just miss
insane.
skip day. That was it.
Oh, skip day was fun.
That's
That was
quite
great.
insane, honestly, to only miss
I don't wanna be
one day out
home.
of the year. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
My fucking house was disgusting. It stunk like cigarette smoke and there were cockroaches everywhere. My mom passed out in a fucking soma-induced coma. Like I don't want to be home. There's no
would've
food there. There's no friends there.
I would have been at school too.
Take my ass to school.
when I was in high
Give me
school,
that extra gym class.
When Price is Right was on.
Yeah, we didn't have cable.
Price is Right wasn't on
I'd
cable.
watch channel 2, 3, and 6. That was it.
Price is Right was on one of those channels.
Yeah, and then you had to watch all the fucking soap operas afterwards.
Yeah.
my high school had formal days. So like once every month, you had to wear call it elevated uniform. And I just did not have this outfit. So it just became known that every day there was a formal day at high school, I was not going to be there. I just took that day off every time.
Sure.
Every single time. It's like, oh, where's Landon? Oh, it's a formal day. He's not going to be here.
Yeah.
I felt the same way, but it was more about work. Like in the 11 years at the place I was bartending at, I'd never missed a day of work. Same thing with school. I never missed a day of
That's
school.
why you're
I
here,
just feel
buddy.
guilty.
We love that
You just
guilt.
feel guilty. Some days I didn't go to school because I just wanted to sleep. Like when I was in high school, I did the IB diploma, and my mom let me kind of do whatever I wanted as long as I got this diploma. So some days I'll just be super tired just from playing video games till 5 a.m. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to go to school today. So I just didn't.
If Guapo's like going to be 5 minutes late, he texts the group. He's like, "Hey guys, just want to let you know I'm going to be 5 minutes late." I'm like, "You get here 45 minutes before everyone else."
Before we think about leaving the house.
Yeah, I'm like, Berkey is never going to know if you're 25 minutes late.
How would they know?
It's like literally 12 or 11:40, and we're like sitting in the living room. We're like, "What time is the podcast today?"
To be fair, that was you that was sitting in the pocket.
We were all sitting in the living room.
I was doing work. I was making the thumbnail and sending assets to Guapo to have ready for today. You were wandering around like it wasn't a Wednesday where we had to be here at a normal time.
Well, you know,
Listen, man.
you got fucked up my schedule.
Oh, we're doing noon, huh? Wow. Whoever would have thought?
Listen,
what
man.
a novel idea.
Some people have to crawl their way to work, okay?
Okay, well, that's a great segue, but we're not quite there yet.
Fuck! I thought we started with that. God damn it!
That
Respect.
was pretty clean. That was
That was
good,
really
yeah.
clean. But the bulk of the show is about prop betting, so it's a little early to jump into that. Before we get into all of the
Sad.
glorious prop bets
Well done, Lynn.
that the poker community has seen, we have a few other things to touch on that are going on in the Twitter sphere. My man Dankness, he's
out
here.
there.
He's clapping back.
He's cooking.
Bad week for Upswing, guys.
Man.
Real bad week for
Upswing stonks are low this week.
They are getting ratioed left and right. I mean, it's just Oprah dishing out cars here. You get a ratio. You get a ratio. You get a ratio. I think in the fee thread, not only did I ratio Fee's original tweet, but then Rob Young responded to me also ratioing Fee's original tweet. Just like getting doled out everywhere. So my man, Mike Brady, I actually like Mike a lot. He's never said a crossword about me, but he made the mistake of having a little fun at Dankness' expense, and now here we are.
What's up, guys? A lot of drama going on out there in the poker Twitter world. I tried to be a good boy. I tried to stay out of it, but I see my name has been dragged into this, so it's time. It's time to have a tough conversation with Mike Brady. Look, Mike, I know you work for Upswing Poker. I don't know if Doug put you up to this or what, but it's clear that you're trying to talk about some things that are outside of your wheelhouse, like having sex or going outdoors. So I want to explain something to you, Michael. There are these things that exist called home games. And if you get invited to one of these puppies and you perform well, you drink, you have fun, you interact socially, you may get invited back. And you may get to play with Billy or Nancy or Pete the plumber. And yes, like Bonomo said, high win rates are very achievable in these scenarios. So look, I get it. You're hosting a 1-2 live no limit podcast with Gary Sackwood. But this is not your area of expertise, okay? And just because there are no casinos in Poughkeepsie does not mean my story about Billy was untrue. Maybe I don't like to go to Poughkeepsie. Mike, you ever think about that? I'm not trying to spend a lot of time there. So if I get invited to a juicy home game, I'm in and I'm out. All right, pal?
Right, pal.
Unlucky, Mike. Unlucky to catch a stray there, buddy.
It's rough.
I could hear some undertones of like just dissatisfaction with the entire camp, and unfortunately, Mike had to fall on the sword there.
Him and Gary Sackwood.
Dang, this is sharp, man. He's fucking out here just ripping it. Yeah, yesterday was a wild day. We talked about it a lot last night in the After Dark pod. You weren't here for it, Landon, unfortunately, but it's nice to see today Twitter calming down a little bit.
Is it?
For me, it's nice, yes. I mean, like, you know, maybe for curating a podcast, it's not the best. Like, woke up and I was like, fuck, there really isn't anything to make a podcast about today. But, you know, life goes on. It's good to not just have a bunch of grown men who play a game for a living and gamble at high stakes. Bickering with one another be the front page news.
Listen, man.
As you say that, Nando's and Fee are going back and forth now.
Good.
It's just another day on the internet.
Fee needs to sit the fuck down, man. I don't know what he's talking about. Like, I just don't know where he's coming from with all the, like, he blatantly lies in a tweet, then I correct him, and then Feldman all but corroborates everything I said, correcting 2 minor details, which he was incorrect on. He said the games that we played prior were 50-100. They were 51 with, like, almost basically a mandatory 200 straddle. And then he said that the game being advertised was 200-400, completely leaving out the fact that it was a 1K ante, as if that doesn't matter. But in any event, basically, like, you know, Ryan then tweets all but corroborating everything I said, which is disproving everything Fee originally said. And then Fee, like, quote tweets and goes, back to reality here. This is what really happened. It's like, what on earth are you doing? Like, is this just all you guys do over there? You run cycles of how to spin things in a... Shut the fucking game off.
Let's go, Byron! Just hit a home run.
Okay, great.
I know. I just had to
What
do
am I
it.
talking to the void here?
No,
This
I'm
is
here.
insufferable.
Landon, Joe.
No, he's not.
I was
He's
here.
the one who started it. I watched the whole interaction take place.
I was trying to be calm.
I watched the whole thing happen. It went Landon to Lamanna to Conrad back to Lamanna.
Yeah, but my ADHD is so high I can hear you at the same time.
You should just happy that the Pirates are like our number 3 team in here.
I'm happy when I'm watching them. I'm not happy when I'm trying to get through an hour of a podcast talking about fucking Pete and Poughkeepsie.
Joe the plumber.
You guys carry the load a little bit here, man. Like, I see it. All right, catch 1 yard. That's great. We're all happy for him. There's 160 games left.
No, there's less.
Oh my God, man. It's too much. It's too much. I'm looking forward to hearing the JNandez side of the story. I think that's something that kind of got brushed under, and obviously, like,
Before my time.
Yeah, probably slightly before your time. But for anybody who was paying close attention back then, I think JNandez's rep was like really, really dragged and besmirched by Doug during that time. Like, I didn't know him at all. I just knew him as the PLO guy. And I remember when all of this was unfolding publicly, having a negative connotation towards JNandez, in spite of the fact that I hated Doug. That's crazy. That is crazy to hate someone as much as I hate Doug and still somehow fall victim to his spin cycle of like what truly happened.
Was this the sweater gate?
Yeah. And that's a good example as to how good at spinning the narrative Doug really is. The thing we remember the most is the sweater bullshit.
That's all I remember about it.
As if that had anything to do with anything. Like somehow he tore down JNandez's character in such a way through a story about sweaters that some grandmother was knitting, and I don't even remember the details of it. That's the craziest part.
It might not even be true.
Right, it might not even be true. It's just like it's such distraction culture. Like he really does belong in politics. He's so good.
He tried running for mayor, but that didn't work out.
No, that was a big
Wait,
L.
did he really?
Yeah. He tried to get the mayor of Las Vegas. I don't know what the proper word would be. I don't know if impeached fits here, but
I remember saying this. Yeah.
yeah, I can't recall what was happening, but
It was during the pandemic.
Yes, it was. Yeah. And for some reason or another, he tried to get the mayor thrown out of office and take over.
She was saying some ridiculous shit at the time.
Yeah, she probably had it coming. Don't get me wrong, but that's not how this works.
I would really love to see a Doug Polk run smear campaign, though. Like in politics.
I was going to say, what are you talking about? He runs smear campaigns
No, like
all
I
the
would love to
time.
see it like a political mainstream one.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just because
It would be very interesting.
Well, it would be interesting, but also I think like you'd actually see the other side willing to participate.
Yes, exactly. It would be wonderful.
That's just the big thing in the poker sphere, right? Is nobody's willing to spar with him. No one's willing to participate and run smear campaigns in return. And, you know, you could try to go on that side and say like, well, these aren't smear campaigns. He's just like, you know, pointing
they're
out
funny jokes.
Yeah, they're jokes, and like he's just pointing out the fatal flaws in everybody in the industry.
It's actually Joker hands.
Right. But you know, it's never really done in a good humor kind of way. It's always done with some level of malice and intent.
They are funny sometimes, though. They
I
do
have a
hit.
question.
Sure, when they're not about you.
Yeah. What about that? Like, how does defamation work in court?
Oh, it's almost impossible to prove. You have to demonstrate a loss of revenue, which is the hardest part. And then on top of that, you have to be able to demonstrate that like what's being said is not factual. Right.
Okay.
So like Doug's actually really great at the way he crafts these things. He does a good job at honestly, he does a good job of leaning on Thomas in the sense that they'll show more than they'll say. Right. So like for instance, the last takedown video that he did of us or whatever, a lot of the hardest hitting or the most impactful portions were like him pulling clips or screen grabs or whatever of whatever point he was trying to make without him actually having to say it.
Yeah.
Right. So like you never really defame anybody if you're just making the implication through whatever video footage you've chopped up.
I guess I should watch these things. I haven't watched any of them.
Yeah, I mean, they're well put together. Thomas is great at what he does. But getting off of that, well, actually, one last note, I guess, from the drama department, because I think it's worth bringing up for the sake of our former guest. Lori Ann is at her wit's end. She can't take it anymore.
I mean,
We have to bring her back on the
Jesus
podcast to talk
Christ.
about it and all of her games that she's won because we didn't get to finish. We didn't get to finish, and I was interested. She made me look wonderful.
Honestly,
Lori, I need you back.
of all the pods that I haven't been here for, that was the one that I watched the most intently.
That
Like
was
it was
the best.
so good. She was
Yeah.
such
She's
a
the goat.
fantastic interview and really brought a side out of Landon that I think everybody was happy to see.
I'm funny sometimes. Leave me alone.
You
Only
were
the
on
Lori's
fire that day.
Yeah.
we literally just called you not funny. And then
That's
you
what
came,
happened.
Yeah.
You fucking
Yeah.
woke up. You woke up the dog. You woke.
And then you came in here and we laughed for like an hour. It was really good.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
Thank you.
So
you know, out of
it-
250 episodes, I might get one.
Oh, it was a very good one.
Yeah.
It
260, and you got
your
one.
highlight.
Everyone had their immaculate game. You know, this is the immaculate podcast.
Lion, squirrel, nut, you know,
Clocks right twice a day or something.
something like that. Yeah.
So apparently
That's too
there's a lot of infighting with the Resort World regs. Our man JC in Blue being the number one Resort World reg, the king of the Resort World regs, as he likes to claim himself. I mean, I haven't followed the entire unfolding of this. I know that it began with. Actually, I don't even know what the origins of it are. I know that it caught a lot of fire during the Irish Open when Lorianne and a few others were speaking out on behalf of Louise. For whatever reason, Cristos felt the need to insert himself into that conversation. And I guess a lot of his side was along the lines of abuse happens to men too. I truly don't even know what the fuck point he's trying to make.
I saw
He just wants to be back in the win, man.
Dude.
I don't know what, I try to read some of his tweets, and I'm just like, what is going on? And he's just like, it's all just,
It's
please.
hard when he sends a full novel.
It's like, please, just let me back in the win. Please, somebody let me talk to me. Let me in the win. That's all I read.
Yeah.
Dude, Deoxy made that poll of like best beef going on right now, and he literally added a Jordan Cristos versus himself.
I voted for
And
that
I
one.
didn't know what was going on, and now I get it. 'Cause, like,
Yeah.
so much stuff is happening at once. You can't really keep up with all of it.
Yeah,
Who
everyone's
has
mad.
that much time?
Everyone's mad. But for, I guess like the real reason to shine a light on this is because we're all very familiar with Cristos and his behavior, and like he's very unrelenting when it comes to these DMs, when it comes to messaging. It seems like as if Lorianne and him have each other's phone numbers as well. So it's like at some point this becomes a level of light harassment, and it's worth calling out before it gets past the point of light harassment, right? Like we all saw what happened with Melissa and he who shall not be named, that got to a point I don't even think she put this publicly, but like did she post the butthole public?
Oh my God.
Right? Like
She did not post the butthole.
all right,
public.
well, I mean, like if you're
just
getting
did.
pictures of buttholes, that's not light harassment anymore. That's full blown harassment. And it's like I'm not saying that we go that far with Cristos, but it's like he seems to be pretty angry, and he seems to be targeting that anger towards certain people in the industry, specifically some women that are a little bit outspoken, and that is a problem, obviously.
Big problem.
So I just kind of wanted to shine a light on it. Obviously, we support Lorianne as much as humanly possible, and more importantly, like it seems as though the major thread line in this gripe to begin with is that Jordan is upset that he isn't getting supported to get lit back into the win, and then he's leaning on the fact that there were some verbal altercations at Resorts World amongst people who play the dailies, as you would expect to have happen in a competitive environment
Such
that
as the
happens
dailies.
every single day.
I mean, I think we can all go on, take a pretty good guess. Jordan Cristos will never be allowed back in the win.
No,
Never. So this is all a waste of fucking time.
he's doing himself such a disservice.
It's
like
out of control. He's just like getting himself banned from other places.
right, like if you were just quiet. Honestly, Sashimi's doing herself the same disservice. She keeps like almost brag posting that she gets kicked out of places for poaching.
Yeah, and then she gets kicked out of
And
the
then
next
she
place.
walks into a new place and they're like, get the fuck out, you poach.
Yeah, of course.
It's like, you don't want to advertise that you're a poacher. That's not the way to keep your business rolling.
You don't advertise yourself as not a poacher by saying that you got kicked out for doing that.
Right. And like, I don't know if she is or isn't. Like, I have no beef with Sashimi. I
Yeah, because
enjoy
she'll
her
throw a
company.
fucking fastball at you.
That's right. She's got a fucking arm, man. She
A
can wing
cannon.
that thing. But yeah, it's like you don't want to advertise your worst qualities that give people who don't need reason to ban you from places a reason to ban you from places.
For sure.
It's like that's been Jordan from day one, man. He just amplifies the fact that he plays super slow and is proud of it. He amplifies the fact that he's super confrontational and is proud of it. He amplifies the fact that no one is supporting these takes, and he's desperate for somebody to support these takes. Like, please write an article about like how unfairly I've been treated. It's like, what are we talking about?
Also,
here, man?
if you don't have a score that's over 615,000, you cannot be counted as a professional.
what is happening?
That's the orange cat.
Guapo's doing something.
I was trying to find Sashimi throwing her fastball.
Do you know that they can't see what we hear?
That is fucking hilarious.
The funny thing is I did my due diligence and muted. So
Oh, okay.
only
So they
you
can't.
guys are hearing
Oh, okay.
this.
So we're losing our minds right now. You guys don't know this,
Yeah,
but
they're
we're
probably
listening
like-
to
yeah.
a video. Like, what?
I
on
thought
earth
that
is
was
happening?
Chauncey that fell from the fucking rafters and just started running around everywhere.
No.
Turn it off.
Oh my god!
I didn't realize it was still playing. I'm
Is it
sorry.
still? Is it still midnight? Are we still doing this pod at midnight? That's what it feels
There's
like.
been some carryover. There's been some serious carryover.
It's been a long week.
It has been a long.
If I didn't say anything, I was just gonna keep going in our ears forever. It's like that torture method where they kept playing the same song and like.
I remember this from a Drew Carey episode. Mimi, nobody's gonna get this reference. Why am I bothering?
Yeah.
Nope.
The lady who wore the fucked up makeup in Drew Carey wanted to like get him back for something, so she put a spotlight on his window and played Panama by
Panama.
why can't I think of who sings this now?
White Snake? maybe?
Afrojack.
No.
White Snake.
Panama
David
Jack.
Lee Roth. What's the group?
Van Halen.
Van Halen. Yeah. Just played it on a loop for like 24 hours. But yeah,
Yeah. It's like Easy Street. That's what it was.
I don't know what that is.
It was just like the torture method that they just would have someone listen to the same song over and over and over again. That's what Guap would have done to us.
I mean, I do that already with T Swift. So I
yeah.
don't.
Well, no, there's other songs. This is the same one.
Chin
I
did
would
that
listen
for
to
an
this
entire season of Poker Out Loud. 16 straight hours, same song.
Really?
Yeah.
What
On
song
repeat.
was it?
He doesn't even remember. That's how you know you're really fucked up in the head.
That's the scary part.
Yeah. When you're so insane that like you listen to something for 16 hours straight, and you're like, what song was this? Like, you know what? Actually, I don't even remember.
I hope he knows all the words to it.
I have a message from Lori.
Okay.
Oh my God, I'm actually watching right now while on hold with the IRS.
Let's go.
For some damn reason, my chat is not available on my cell phone. But yes, I was at my wit's end with Jordan and could not stay silent because I know I'm not the only one he's done this to. This all started the day after my WPT score. Thanks for the support, guys.
Lori's a
Anytime,
legend.
yeah.
Yeah,
love
that part's
Lori.
definitely true.
Put in a good word for me with
Not
the
the
IRS,
first,
please.
not the first person to either reach out to us publicly or privately, letting us know that Cristos is kind of aggro when it comes to the DMs and the tweets. But nevertheless, we roll on. Big shout out to the young man Jeremiah Williams.
Boy.
Let's go.
Maya.
Almost hit
almost
his
there.
milestone. So he is 94 days in, just shy of 100. Man, it's so funny. I thought 100 days was like the perfect over-under for this too. And it looks like he might just be there. Cashed in his rake back yesterday, as well as had an 11K day on Global. That puts him at 194.8.
Wow.
He's $5,200 away from reaching 200,000 in under 100 days.
That's pretty sick, man.
You're gonna do it, I think.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty good. Like if you carry that forward to a yearly, what do you make? He started with 50K, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so like 150K in just over 3 months. You're looking at like $600,000 a year
Playing
Pretty
5-10 online.
playing American
5,
online
10,
sites.
10, 20
And
sometimes.
he's playing like 5 days a week, right?
Right. He's playing like
I think he's been playing 7 days a week.
he's been playing as low as like 2.5 though, right?
Yeah.
As low as 2.5, as high as
2K.
well. I think a little bit of high stakes popped off on WSOP once or twice.
Oh,
maybe.
yeah, sure. Like most of the volume
No
is
volume.
500 to 2K.
Yeah, no volume.
And then some tournaments here and there. But yeah, I mean, everyone always knew Jeremiah's a legend. And
Poker is
keeps
alive. It's alive and well.
Yeah.
You
he's
can-
not using the wizard when he's playing.
right.
You know?
You too can become a Twitch streamer and make 6 figures a year just grinding out 2.5 and 5.10 online.
That easy.
I mean, you kind of have to get good at the game first, but like,
Yeah.
if you get that out of the way, you too
You can join Jeremiah.
could join Jeremiah, reg battling, playing heads up. That's the sick thing I think I was most impressed by watching him is that he'll have like 2 or 3 heads up games going, as well as playing like 2 or 3 6 max games. It's like, man, the more I learn about heads up, the strategies are so different. It's like crazy to have to, compartmentalize like that while you're making rapid decisions, looking at flop textures and saying like, oh, okay, in this one I'm heads up, therefore I get to do X. In this one I'm cut off first big blind, therefore I have to do Y. It's like,
Yeah, it helps when
kinda
you
tricky.
automate the thought process. Where you try to find more range bets, try to find more one-sizing strategies, and not
He
try
does
to,
use a lot of one-sizing strats, but they're very good.
yeah,
obviously.
like you just pick the best size and you use that one.
yeah.
Like you don't have to have like 2, 3 sizes in all these spots. Everyone wants to try to be like the machine. It's like
Well, I think
You
the
play
big
one
thing
size grid,
about
it'd be great.
I think the big thing about being able to play a one-size strategy is being well versed in your checking strategy, and I think that's why people mostly struggle. It's like the whole purpose of getting to a point where you can simplify to a range bet is so that you don't have to consider what happens when you enter the passive portion of the tree. But obviously Jeremiah is like very well versed. He could play multiple sizes if he wanted to, but more importantly, he knows how to like check and still reduce the game to a 2-street game.
Yeah, we saw what happens
this.
when you know how to check back.
Yeah.
You just get pretty decent and stop losing infinite.
We talked about this in the academy, didn't we, Guapo?
Indeed. Range splitting.
I just more meant someone that wanted to take some sick days, got good at checking back, and now he's pretty decent.
I know what you meant.
Yeah.
Sorry. You're right. It was subtle enough that it wasn't going to shine through, but like,
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I mean, I just want to read tweets that I'm just going down the Twitter and
This is just turning the Conrad live tweet section.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine.
There we are.
JNandez. I'm not surprised Doug Polk vids doesn't remember the factual details of his company's lawsuit. There was only one prevailing party, and it was an Upswing. Twitter thread with what happened to come in the next 72 hours.
Ooh.
I'm excited.
Thread's going to be a lot. We're going to need
We'll need him in person. He's here.
We're going to need a 45-second breakdown.
A CSA of the JNandez.
Yeah. I mean, it's important to get all the details out and have all the facts out there, of course, but you never want to have something that important get responded with, I ain't reading all that, bro. I'm happy for you, or
Sorry that
condolences.
happened.
Yeah, sorry that happened.
That's a good one. Yeah. Well, that's why I said like we should just probably have him on and talk about it, where it's like he can just give the story versus trying to read this essay.
Yeah.
This hero's journey, if you will. 'Cause at the end of the day, like people look at the top and then the bottom one.
Yeah.
Everything else is just kind of in between.
Yeah. We definitely need the TLDR.
Or at Twitter Blue, you can just start writing essays now. Some people need to get their character count fucking limited.
Who said that the other day? Somebody replied to a tweet and was like, hey Elon, like, I'm sorry, but can you give this person back their character limit?
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was though. Twitter's a dumpster fire right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like it's the one that we know and love.
Yeah, no, I'm not even saying like poker Twitter. I'm saying like the actual app itself.
All of Twitter.
No, not like
app.
like he has ruined so many features of this stupid bird app.
Man, I can't even look at the For You page. I'm scared.
It's bad. It's bad. The edit features awful. You can only edit your own tweets. You can't edit replies, which is like really dumb.
I'm only on the For You. I'm on the For You, and then I'm on my Pirates list.
Oh,
And that's it.
You like to live life dangerously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I'll miss a lot of stuff if I'm just on people that I follow because
Right.
I don't follow all these idiots, spewing shit out into the
Maybe
world.
you should start
Yeah.
That's too many people.
a list,
Check it twice.
Start a like
a drama
dumpster-
list.
poker dumpster fire list.
Yeah, there you go.
The best part about
That
that is when
actually
you
would be
add
pretty
someone to
good.
a list, you get a notification.
That they're on the list.
Yeah, like when people add me to their poker list,
Right,
it's
yeah.
like you've been added to this list poker.
Mhm.
So if Brian just made a list saying you've been added to absolute dumpster fire and trash takes from the poker community.
I'm going to add you to my Pirates list.
Good. Love to see it. All right, let's talk about the main talking point today, and that is prop bets within the space of poker.
Oh, so you've come crawling back to it.
Well done,
There
young
we
man.
go.
Well done, young man. This is being brought up based off of a prop bet that took place, I think, last night. Big shout out to Wagons, Dylan DeStefano. Put out a tweet that said, I personally just witnessed one of the craziest prop bets in Vegas. 11K to 10K. Rich Alonti, a.k.a. Scumbag Rich, has to crawl from the Encore Valet to the Aria Valet, approximately 2.5 miles without stopping. End result, he made it to the Bellagio Fountains where there was a small buyout. And then we have 3 very short videos of the man in the process thereof.
That's Scumbag Rich.
Give me an update,
That is-
homie.
Bro, I tell you what,
I got fans now. I got people rooting for me.
I'm one of them. In about 30 seconds, you'll be able to see the audience.
See what I'm saying?
Tell them your name.
Yo, Rich Alati, working, grinding, hustling. Let's go, baby. Another day. Let's go.
God, if you would have just said Scumbag Rich, I would have loved it.
Hey, Rich, give me an update, homie. You're on your boulevard, C-Walk, in the Berkey, Hawking. Let's go!
Yes.
These are all the Bellagio regs.
That song is popping.
Those are all the Bellagio regs that are sweating him, all the guys I play 100, 200 with on the regular.
Let pro crawl.
I guess this started with he was offered the bet of 10K, and I guess he was like pondering it or whatever, and then the vulture, Ashiel, goes something to the effect of, come on, Rich. Like, we know you're not going to do it. You're not good for it or whatever. And like, it snapped. He was just like, what? You think I'm not going to do it? I'll do it right now. And boom, bet's on. So I guess Vulture offered him an extra 1K.
Vulture.
Gave him the 11 to 10 odds.
Vulture won.
It sounds as though the buyout was like relatively small, wasn't much bloodshed. And yeah, he basically crawled for 1.5 miles for that TikTok video.
You said he wasn't allowed to stop, so like no
He was
brakes.
not.
He just has to keep moving.
He
On the
had
third
a
on the-
2-second stop where
Yeah.
like if you could stop for like 1, but he can't stop for more than 2 seconds.
Wow.
On the third video that we didn't quite see, he had a water guy. He was just like, he was like crawling.
Hey, Rich, give me an update, homie. On your bullet. Hey, Rich. He might do it, man.
That's a shill. The Vulture.
Like he's got his water, boy.
Gotta stay hydrated out there.
He's putting in work, man. He's putting in work.
Incredible.
Dude, you saw how disgusting his hands were?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
can you imagine,
Imagine what his knees looked like by the end.
the sidewalk on the Vegas Strip? It's not the cleanest.
I like how he got like an army behind him to just support.
I'm not even sure like what the best strategy is. Like, have you ever had to
Don't
like bear
stop.
crawl places?
Yes.
It's so hard. So like
Yeah.
Bear crawl is not the answer.
that can't be the answer.
No, you'll be done after like 300 feet.
Yeah. Yeah, but maybe like
Bear crawl is on your forearm.
No, it's
when
like-
your knees are off the ground.
Where your knees are
Oh.
off the ground and you just
May-
look like a little
maybe,
baby bear.
Yeah.
Maybe mixing like some like bear crawl runs.
Start running?
Well, I mean, you want to try to like
No, you can't run. You
Listen,
just get
there's only
tired.
one strategy, and it's slow and steady.
It's tortoise strategy.
Listen, you just crawl like a tortoise. I would do it, but I would get there by like November.
I mean, the thing with going slow and steady is that like you have to remember that those 4 pressure points of your hands and knees are just constantly taking a pounding.
Yeah.
You gotta get like knee pads or something.
But you don't get that option, man.
Maybe you
This is-
do. They never said you couldn't. As long as
I
you
wonder
had
if he got paid enough to replace the jeans that he ruined.
Hopefully.
I mean, yeah, I would hope
He's out
so.
here like Alexander McQueen.
Imagine, he's got like $125. He's like, God damn, these are $200 jeans.
Yeah,
I lost money.
fair trade.
Not the first prop bet Rich has been involved in. A few years back, he was involved in a bathroom bet where he had to, I believe it was 30 days.
Yeah, the dark room bet.
Yeah, 30 days he had to live in darkness in the Bellagio bathroom. I don't remember what numbers were being thrown about.
It was a lot. Wasn't it a lot? It was over 100K.
Man, it has to be a lot, right? Like,
I feel like
yeah.
It was 100K or more. 6 figures for sure.
So I think that this original prop, if I recall, was constructed
100K, yeah.
or offered, I guess, by Rory Young, owner of Odin, who we've spoken plenty about in the past. This ultimately ended in a buyout as well. I don't recall exactly how they policed everything. It's been so long. I do remember that he played 5 Diamond like a day after buying out. And like he had been in the bathroom for, I don't know, 3 weeks or something ridiculous, 2 weeks maybe. And I recall him being in the 5 Diamond looking like he had just woken up normal, like nothing had been different. Whereas I imagine both mentally and physically after spending that much time in isolation in the dark, you would have to be bordering on crazy. Like something would, you would think something would change in your demeanor where, you know, you couldn't just like step right back out into civilization 24 hours later and just play a high roller or a high stakes tournament.
Not for nothing. I feel like your eyes would hurt. Like you would, if you were just sitting in dark for X amount of time,
any
like
kind of light towards your eyes would be painful.
24 hours, I don't think, like you just would have to have sunglasses on.
Like a vampire.
Yeah, so I'm reading the stipulations of the bet, and it was 30 days, no light, an hour. Oh, sorry. There would be no TV, radio, phone, or access to the outside world, but he was allowed some comforts: a yogurt mat, resistance band, massage ball, and then
Rubik's Cube.
lavender essential oils, as well as sugar and salt scrub.
Sure, that's what you really need.
Right.
CSA.
Go ahead.
JNandez tweet.
Okay.
Ryan, sorry to break it to you, but there were reasons Upswing didn't want you in the deposition arbitration. You were always the most irrational, insufferable, and delusional. of the 3 douchebags. Congrats. Now go get your trophy.
Yo, I love the spicy JNandez.
Was that an actual tweet or
Yeah.
did you just make that up?
I did not make that one up for once.
All right.
That is an actual fucking tweet. I
Nah,
loved
we
every
love a
moment
good
of
we
it.
love a good JNandez
Man, he's on one.
spiciness.
Fucking great.
Love Twitter. See, Twitter's great. This is what you need. You would have missed this, Brian.
I know, exactly.
How
It's
could
the
you miss this?
I go to 4. Look, it's the first one that pops up.
Ah, look, it is for you.
Yeah. See?
They can hear us.
They know.
They know.
Okay, so it looks like it was day 15 that there was a buyout. Or wait, maybe not. Day 15, Roy Young's voice came over the loudspeaker. Alante jumped out of bed, happy to hear a voice that wasn't his own. Young told him that he had been in for around 2 weeks and that he had an offer for him. He could leave if he paid $50,000. Oh, if he paid? Oh, wow. Yeah, of course he's not going to take that halfway through.
Right. Yeah, because it wasn't just it wasn't free roll.
Right. So then ultimately what ended up happening is Roy offered Rich $25,000 to quit. And he then declined. Let's see. Where does this thing? Jesus, this article's so long. What was the ultimate buyout? Okay.
No idea.
Oh, okay. $62,400.
Going which way?
Towards Rich. It looks like how many days did he end up staying in there? 20 days. Yeah, 20 days. He ultimately settled on $62K buyout. So 2/3 of the bet, he got paid roughly 2/3 of the money. Pretty crazy fucking bet, man. I don't know.
You made it 20 days. Wouldn't you think like, maybe I can make it 10 more for another 30K?
I mean,
but
look.
Also, it's just like, get me the fuck out of here. I'm getting my 62,000 and.
All right, well, I'm going to talk about it because we're talking about prop bets, and I think it's worth. Talking beyond just the scope of the actual bets themselves. What are you doing?
Oh no, what are we talking about?
Don't do that.
That's our segue transitioner.
What are we talking about?
Don't do that.
Cool transition.
When there are prop bets like this, there are massive betting markets that are created on the side, and oftentimes there's significantly more money in the side markets than there are in the major market. Given the two people who were involved in this bet, in orchestrating this bet, and the fact that this man lasted 20 days in the pitch black with no human contact whatsoever and came out just fine.
I'm scared.
Just my opinion, just speculation, my own opinion, not one shared by maybe anybody else, but I am skeptical that this bet was on the up and up. I just don't see it.
You think a bet that scumbag Rich made isn't on the up and up?
Scumbag Rich with Roy Young,
this
who
is awkward.
Has cheated a bunch in the past. Yeah, no, I don't think it was on the up and up. Personally, that's just me. I think it was market manipulation. I imagine if I had to guess that, low 6 figures, maybe mid 6 figures were wagered on the side, and it seems like a pretty good arb spot if you're just willing to kind of manufacture what appears to be an up and up bet. But that's just my opinion. Yeah. That's really commonplace in prop bets, I think, and it's what makes them very dangerous to be betting on the side. We've seen a lot of these prop bets come up over recent history, right? Like a good example was I really wanted to bet against Doug's fat loss bet, but nobody would publicly state whether or not he was allowed to use gear. And obviously, if he's allowed, I want to bet heavily on him. If he's not allowed, then I wanted to bet a lot against it. And I never got an answer, so I just never made a bet. But there was plenty of fucking people
that did make a
who
bet.
just fired off tons of money, not really necessarily knowing all the details. And that's kind of scary. Especially like bits like that, which are very sensitive and easy to game, right? Like if you're allowed to game the DEXA, that's worth a couple points in body fat percentage, right?
Yeah, you just drink tons of
water.
water.
Yeah, but just drink a couple gallons of water prior to going. Like that's calculated as lean muscle mass. If you're allowed to use gear for a year, that's going to drastically game the system. So it's like these details are very important and they don't need to be publicized outside of the two parties who are making the actual wager, which makes the side market really fucking dicey.
Yeah, like you just kind of have to have your own sort of rules and guidelines as to bets that could be washed at a later date where if you find out that he either is doing the DEXA stuff or he is taking, where it's like, oh, if you want to bet on Doug to do it, but you're operating under the pretense that he has gear, and you bet with someone that's cool enough to say, okay, if he does take it, bets on. If he doesn't, bets off.
Yeah,
that's nice, but that's not.
You would still have to. You would still have to get confirmation.
Is not in the poker community. Like you're not going to find people that are going to actually be straight with you.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to find people that are going to be straight when they're seeking like these side bets. Like I feel like everybody's doing it because they
too pure
edge.
Too pure for this world.
And
well, that's the thing. We're not market makers necessarily by trade either. So everybody's kind of speculating and throwing numbers out until it lands on something that they feel comfortable with. But then in the meantime, there's a lot of mitigating factors that could be shifting those numbers heavily one way or the other that maybe are just not being disclosed.
The amount of people that are like, oh, easy win for Doug, easy loss for Doug. It's like you have no idea these actual things. I'm sure people printed on side action.
I would have taken Doug with odds for sure.
You would have taken Doug with.
Yeah, with odds for sure.
Without knowing if you could take stuff or not.
Yeah.
If you got like 5 to 1.
Oh, I would have taken it like 1.5 to 1.
Oh, got it.
Like I think for sure he accomplishes it like 35 or 40% of the time.
You got really fucking close.
Yeah.
Do you know about this breast implant prop?
Oh yeah, so many. I have a whole list of props. I have so many.
That's an old school one.
This guy,
please enlighten me.
This man,
you never heard this?
I never heard this.
This man got paid $100,000 for getting breast plants.
Now, this is back in like the 80s, 90s, maybe. It was when $100,000 was a
late
lot more,
90s, early
more
2000s.
money than it is now.
This is poker community, just in general.
Poker community.
Classic.
The stipulations were that he had to pay for the surgery, but would get $100,000 if he kept them for 1 year.
How much was the surgery? It doesn't 5K or something?
Probably like 5 to 10K, something like that. So he got them inserted, and then as of 2015, he still had the breast implants.
He kind of, they grew on him.
How'd you know?
I read an article.
What
do you mean? I know anything. The internet.
I found the video, but he keeps whipping them out. So
I was gonna say, I was like, I know
man.
there's video of them, and it's like they're like playing, like his friends are just grabbing them and playing with them, like, and it's just like, I don't think we can put that on here.
It's so weird. Yeah. So that was one of the older ones. Let me think of the Antonio piss bottle, where he had the lunge everywhere.
The lunge.
He had the lunge everywhere for 72 hours, I think, in PCA Bahamas. Perkins bet. Perkins is like the king. So many of these prop bets center around Perkins.
Yeah.
He just likes to see the world like do stuff. It doesn't have to burn, because sometimes he gives people good bets.
I just think he likes to see like how big of whores we all are when it comes to things we're willing to do for money. Like, where's your line?
Yeah, it's fun.
Where's the border of what is unreasonable to you to do? And is there a price that will change that? And the answer is probably.
There's always a number.
There seems to always be a number.
Because how else are you going to pay the IRS?
That's true. That's true. So this bet with Antonio and Perkins was very large, I think. And I do think Antonio ended up winning it, if I recall. Note, he got kicked out of the PCA main event on like day 5.
Chip leading.
Yeah. With like, like sub 100 people left. Chip leading 1.9, maybe 2.2 million up top, something along those lines. Just got booted. I remember I was playing in Ivy's room whenever this happened. John Morgan, who's very good friends with Antonio, was
Legend.
in the game. And
I fucking love him.
He's just like giving us like minute by minute updates because he's just texting Antonio to like find out what happens. And then we catch the word that he got 86 from the tournament for pissing in a bottle under the table.
Man, I love how when there's enough money, some of the biggest news platforms just make articles about it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, poker player apologizes, then donates $50K to charity.
Right, yeah. I guess the PCA was smaller that year. That was the 5K main event. So I think that was the one that Charter won for like 400 or 500,000.
Take it.
Which, if I had to guess, Antonio had way, way more money on the line than that. So getting kicked out doesn't seem all that unreasonable. Yeah, that was a big one. I do think he ended up winning the bet, if I recall correctly.
I feel like he did.
I think that was part of the allure of Perkins never making prop bets that he actually won. Another prop bet that he made, I think he lost this one twice, actually. The first one was to Dan Blazarian. He bet him that he couldn't bike from Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, forgot about that
From
one.
Vegas to Los Angeles in 48 hours. So it's just shy of 300 miles, which I guess like I don't remember if he got to train for it. I don't think he like had to do. Yeah, no, he definitely got to train for it. He got to train. I remember Lance Armstrong was a part of it.
Was he?
He ended up doing it in like 30 some hours, and he was like drafting the whole way behind an RV. Honestly, it was like probably a pretty easy bet, but like knowing what we know now about like endurance sports and stuff like that, that bet should be pretty much an auto lock. You know, you can bike 15 miles an hour, I would think, pretty comfortably. So you're probably looking at like sub 20 hours if you just rode consistently. You start to factor in brakes and everything else. Like, I don't think you need to be a true endurance athlete to be able to pull this feat off in 48 hours. I think 24 hours would be tougher.
You think Nick could do it?
Nick?
Airball. A lot of brakes on there.
Depends how high he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much water he drinks?
Yeah. You gotta drink
How much green tea with honey?
A lot of
Sorry.
green tea with honey. No, he gets some plain, actually. I know his order now at this point.
You should just bring in next session just like a massive liter of Arizona green tea. Say, you have fucking leaving.
We've spent too much time together. I think Perkins then followed it up and bet Rast that he couldn't do it immediately, no training in 24 hours. And I'm pretty sure, and no drafting either. And I'm pretty sure Rast won that bet too. I could be wrong about the 24-hour part.
I think he did win the bet though.
He definitely won the bet. I know because he had a huge amount on the side. I think he won like $1 million.
Rasty too
when
nasty.
it was all said and done. Rast is so sharp, man. He's so fucking sharp.
I need him to be my prop bet negotiator.
He saw that he was underpriced on poker shares for the 50K and like bet infinite that he was just going to win the fucking thing and did.
Let's go! Those are the best. Those are the best stories.
Like I think Mike McDonald had him priced at either face or like slightly below, and he just piled
Marked
on
down?
it. Yeah, he just like fucking piled in on it, and then just goes out and ships the goddamn thing.
It's like, all right, fuck you then. Watch this.
Yeah, like here, I want it for 1.5. Pay me.
It's so fucking strong.
Esfandiari is pretty sharp when it comes to prop bets. I think he got odds too, decent odds against Kevin Hart in a boxing
Oh
match.
yeah, and like he was a huge favorite there.
Yeah, like
Odds against Kevin Hart?
yeah, and he's like
Kevin Hart.
God knows how many inches taller,
Yeah,
how many
Kevin
inches
Hart's
of reach.
I mean, Kevin Hart trains and like, you know, probably thought like I'm so in shape and, you know, I actually box in my spare time and this guy is, you know, just a tall muppet. Yeah. But like, yeah, he has like 8 or 10 inches on him. Like, who knows how much that equated to in reach. Yeah, and Antonio's done some fun props throughout the days.
Legend. I mean, we love a good prop bet story.
We got more. There's plenty more.
Keep them coming. Keep cooking. Keep cooking.
There was the infamous bracelet bet between Mercier and Vanessa Selps.
Oh, that's a legendary one. I know about that one.
That was a tough one. It was a weird one to see play out in the public, and it was also wild that Mercier almost fucking won the whole thing.
Can you give background, please?
Yeah, so the background is, first of all, the result was they both lost money, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
But the backstory was that Vanessa offered, I think, 100 to 1 that Jason couldn't win 3 bracelets during the World Series. And why this became controversial is because they were friends.
Mixed games allowed, of course.
Yeah, of course. But they were friends. They were both Poker Stars ambassadors at the time. They were, you know, traveling, not together, but like they were at all the same stops.
They're homies.
And I think Vanessa felt taken advantage of because she was drunk when she made the offer. So there wasn't a lot of thought that went into it. You know, I'm sure she didn't do too much calculation behind the idea of 100 to 1. And this is the only trouble, I think, with the poker community is that we are very willing to put our money where our mouth is. And for the most part, whenever people say things out of pocket, we're very quick to bet it, right? And that's fine. But the problem is when you throw ego into that as well, there's never really a good-spirited negotiation of terms. And usually it's just like a snap, right? Like, so if she just says something hyperbolic, like, I'll lay you 100 to 1, you can't win 3 bracelets.
Done.
And he just thinks that's a really good price and snaps it up. She doesn't really have any wiggle room to say like, well, I actually think that that's, you know, not a fair price. I'm just kind of like, you know, speaking hyperbolically. Why don't, if you really want to bet, like we can negotiate fair terms. Maybe I think it's like closer to 150 to 1 or something like that, right? But unfortunately, especially if she's drinking, like the ego fuels in. It's just like, okay, 10K to your million. And she's just like, okay, I guess we're doing this, right? So
I love when he just takes 10K on himself at that. He's like, that's nothing. Don't worry about it.
Well, I mean,
we'll see.
It kind of isn't, right? So Jay shows up that summer and just immediately wins a bracelet. Like
It's like the first week, right?
Yeah.
First week, just immediately wins. I think it was a PLO bracelet. Just instantly ships one. Then he finds himself at another final table, a limit final table. I can't recall which one, where I think he was like relatively short the whole time, and just somehow sun runs and battles and wins a second bracelet. It might have been stud or something to that effect. So now, once he won the second one relatively quickly, now the whole story went pretty public. And Vanessa's like sweating fucking bullets. So she had to lay off. Like, it was too much risk. I'm sure she had $1 million, but like, I'm also sure that $1 million was a huge, huge amount of money to her. So it may have actually been with Timex that she ultimately did lay off. And I think she ended up losing like $250,000 in the prop bet or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Somewhere between 100K and 250K. Jay ends up getting heads up in another limit event and can't close. So he ends up with a first, and a second.
Incredible.
All within like, the first 12 days of the WSOP.
Timex is
and
out
of
there
course,
scooping.
the only one that fucking wins is Timex.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ! Like, he's not even involved in the conversation. He just somehow is the only winner here.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love it, man.
Talk about being sharp.
Mark I.
Talk about being
I'm sure he either had means to lay off some risk or was very comfortable with the risk because he had to be sweating as well.
Is
Right,
Timex
like-
the guy that won the free throw?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Next prop bet.
Yeah, so he recently did a prop bet where he had to shoot 93%?
Such a legendary
93 out of 100?
man.
I think so. Sounds
No?
about right.
The Nick
No,
videos
I don't know what it
It's
was.
either 90 or 93 out of 100.
I think it was like 90, something along those lines. High 90s.
Yeah.
High 90s out of 100, dude.
It all started the thing that's funny to me is the origins of these prop bets. It started because he posted a video of him in his bedroom where he just has a regulation hoop on the fucking wall.
Does he really?
And he's like shooting
He
from
was like
his
in the
bed.
gym or some shit. He was doing something. Like he basically put his form out there, and then Nick just couldn't take it.
Yeah.
Nick was just like, dude, this form is so ass. Like, there's no way you can actually do this. Like, all right, let's bet.
Nick-
But Schulman. But like the Nick videos on this were so
He
good.
was so fucking salty,
so
man.
good.
God.
Yeah, because what ended up happening with taking a break somewhere through, you know, but then Mike also did it and then did it again.
He did it again, yeah.
Where it was kind of known, like, all right, he's just gonna do it. So like,
Yeah.
what can you do?
Yeah.
But man, that was you don't realize these are legendary times until after the fact. This
No,
is
it's
like
true.
2 years ago.
Yeah, wasn't that long ago.
So good.
That one I wasn't sure about. I
So
don't know
good.
enough about like the mechanics of
Nick
basketball.
in the car just so good.
I remember.
I wish we had that video.
Oh my god.
Guapo, if you can happen to scrub the
Please do.
Schulman timeline.
It's worth it, I promise.
What am I looking for here?
Go to Schulman's timeline, click media, and then just scroll back to like 2019, see if you can find a video.
What is he doing in this video?
2020.
Don't worry.
He's
It's
in
only
it.
going to be like 3 scrolls down. He doesn't tweet.
Yeah, it's. Let me see if I can try to find it at the same time, and then I'll link it to you. But man, it's worth it, I promise.
While he's looking for that,
Investigating.
there was another bet that happened too quickly. But as an observer, this was one that I wanted to get. Like I would have laid my entire fucking net worth on. Jonathan Bales. This must have been during the pandemic too. For those who don't know, I think he's like loosely involved in poker. Maybe he played a little bit back in the day, but he is a major figure in the DFS world, and he and a few others, I believe, created the site. Something Labs. I can't remember the actual name. But anyway, big DFSer and in remarkable shape. Like, he's fucking yoked.
Bales is jacked.
Yeah. So,
Wasn't it just Fantasy Labs?
Fantasy Labs. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you. So he put out, I don't remember if it was his roommate or who it was.
Does that
wait,
look
we
right,
got
Matt?
it.
Okay.
Is this it?
This is it.
this
This is it, baby. This is it.
Hey guys, I'm here to apologize to Timex publicly. Now I can't take it the other way. I've just had people hit me up coming in, oh man, I got your back, Nick. Fucking Timex scummed you, this, that, and and it's like, Timex didn't scum you, man. I'm just a moron, is what it is. Your boy is a moron. And, over this last week or so of him posting up videos looking like Ray Allen, like, I was getting needled about it. I just couldn't take it. And I started vilifying Timex, and my Timex became public enemy number one to me. I'm really only half kidding. I mean, I'm crazy. I woke up and read the thing about the restart, and I just went blind, you know. I don't even remember that day.
I've been there,
just
Nick.
lost my mind.
I've been there, man.
And started attacking Timex like, you know, it was a wrap. I mean, it's August. It's a wrap. We get it. And I'm a sore loser, you know? I'm tired of losing these bets. I'm a bad prop better. I mean, it is what it is. You know, now I'm betting Timex. He's not going to do something he says he's going to do. It's just crazy. But yeah, I had to clear the air on that. I know he was a little frustrated. I said he took a night off. It was 30 minutes. He got kicked off the court. I mean, you know, Timex has the sweetest stroke I've ever seen at the line. He did do it. You know, I don't know if that first video was a hustle or not, but I don't think it was. So take it, Timex. I'm sorry, buddy. And that's all I had to say about it. I had to say that.
Oh man, incredible!
I
Nick's
knew
the
it was
best.
worth it, man.
Nick's the best.
It's too good. It's always too good.
This is what Twitter beef was like before we got to the place we're at now. I guess
People are saying Timex scummed me. He didn't scum me. I'm just the worst prop better of all time.
Yeah, that was great. That was really great. But yeah, the Jonathan Bales one, I believe the bet was that he had to do 1,000 push-ups in.
It's like 2,400 or something.
Was it 2,400?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he had a stupid amount of time, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay, 2,400 push-ups in 11 hours.
2,400 push-ups in 11 hours in 5 minutes, just in case. 5 minutes.
Still seems like a lot.
Oh, maybe that's just what he competed. Yeah, he had 12.
Completes it in. He had 12 hours.
He had 12 hours.
12 hours.
This was.
So 500 push-ups an hour.
Listen, this was.
My math right?
No.
You're just a moron.
That would be 5 hours.
2,000 push-ups. No, wait.
2,400 push-ups.
Oh, yeah.
In 12 hours. 200 push-ups an hour. You got there.
Yeah,
These push-up bets are such like slippery slope bets because they're so subjective. Like,
No, bro. He could have done these slow with his nose touching the ground and beat it by. The fact that it took him 11 hours and 5 minutes was him just trying to get future action.
I watched somebody do 3,206 push-ups in 60 minutes.
Yeah. I tried to run this bet when I did P90X for the first time in 2008. I was trying to get odds that I could do 1,000 push-ups in an hour.
what do we consider a
Nick
push-up?
Howard did it for fun.
Oh, yeah.
When we went to Big Bear.
Yeah.
I was telling him that I was trying to get action on it back in the day when I was doing a ton of push-ups. And he's like, I think that's doable. I go, I think it's doable, but like people kept telling me about like lactic acid and all this other bullshit. And like, it just seemed hard and I couldn't get a good price. So I never did it. He goes, I'll do it right now. And I was like, all right, go ahead. And I watched him. And, you know, some of the push-ups were maybe questionable. Like if we were betting, like maybe I would have forced him to keep going or whatever. But like he knocked out 1,000 in an hour. Wow. Or maybe it was 90 minutes. I think we might have done 90 minutes, something like that. In any event, this guy has to do 2.5 times that amount in 10x the time.
Yeah.
It's like, where take my money, please.
Yeah.
Where can I lay the wood on this one? But it got off the ground like super quick, and there wasn't really much on the don't side, so you couldn't really get a ton of action down on it. This was a bigger layup than the Trump renomination, I think.
Wait. Talking about prop bets.
Yeah.
Didn't somebody have to dunk last week?
Yeah.
That never happened.
No, it didn't happen.
So
Matt's free rolling. I gained a bunch of weight, but I wanted to, so I'm okay with it.
I'm free rolling, but I still have not stepped in the gym. I haven't jumped.
No, like you're actually dead.
I haven't jumped in 4 or 5 years, but we're still going to give it a shot. I'm at least going to attempt.
Wait, you didn't even try?
No.
I never really like went out there and tried. Yeah.
Should at least try.
You're 6 foot
Well,
fucking four.
No. Like, in Rob's gym, there's a 10-foot thing where I can get like half of my hand over it. I knew I actually could still not dunk a ball because I couldn't even do it with form.
Yeah, but you might.
I'll give you a small reprieve. I am going to attempt to dunk at some point. I can promise you that before the World Series starts.
Wow.
If you, I'll give you a free roll in return.
If I can.
Yeah. So I can't lose. like we're at a point now where I can't lose the bet,
Correct.
right? But you can wash the bet if you dunk and I dunk. Or sorry, you could wash the bet. Like you can have me playing for nothing if you dunk.
Beforehand, if I get there beforehand.
Or even like the same day. Like if we walk in the gym and you dunk.
Oh,
now,
I guess what you're saying.
Now I'm just.
But I'm not sweating you dunking a basketball, Matt.
That's a mistake.
Look, you're 41. You're over the hill. You have a torn ACL.
Why do you do this to yourself, Landon? I'm going to take $2,000 from you if you keep talking.
No, but like it's okay. You know, like you have other things to do. You're playing airball Rick.
I am playing airball Rick, and I'm gonna also just be doing calf raises in the corner
while he takes his breaks.
Yeah, every fucking 35 minutes, I'm gonna be doing 4 minutes worth of calf raises.
That's what you take your breaks for.
All right. I didn't want to have to do it. We're going to have to do it, though.
I would love to see you do it. I can write that off on the IRS, right? The tax write-off?
I mean, it's an L.
Yeah.
It's definitely an L.
Lost 2K to Matt Berkey. He jumped high.
So I saved one of the craziest prop bets for last, and it's one of the older ones that I imagine nobody in this room is really going to remember, but maybe. Ashton Griffin, back in 2009, I think, won $300K running an. They call it an ultra, but it was, I think it was
74 miles.
4 miles, yeah.
Ultra's 100.
100,
plus.
right? But he ran 74 miles on a treadmill with no preparation whatsoever and laid 3-1 odds. He laid 3-1.
So he just
odds.
had to be on it at a certain speed, or he had to finish during a certain time, or what was the?
He had 24 hours.
There's a huge difference, right, between the a treadmill and actually doing it out in the street.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a difference. I don't want to go so far as to say huge as to imply like what he accomplished wasn't incredible.
Oh no, right, for sure. I mean, he ran 74 miles on treadmill or no treadmill. But,
yeah.
I would think that, and I would also think that it would the difference would be greater the more mileage, right? So like,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
if you're you know running a
There's
mile,
a lot of wear and tear and
right.
like
There's
beating
not
the
a
pavement.
lot of difference running a mile on a treadmill and a mile on the street, but
Right.
74 miles might be a lot different.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is that there's no elevation change or incline, decline.
Yeah, and like I feel like these ultras, they end up being like rough terrain. Not just,
for sure.
Right? It's
for
not
sure.
just like running on the
But
street.
also people who are like ultra marathon runners can do 124 hours, no problem. Like if you listen to like guys like Goggins, they're doing it at like 19.
Yeah.
And that's not to undermine this achievement at all.
No.
Like this is ridiculous. No. So the
None of us in this
backstory
room
is
could do it.
No, of course not. The backstory is that Ashton was a college wrestler, I believe. For sure a high school wrestler, maybe a college wrestler, I'm not sure. Got into the high stakes poker world for a spell in the early to mid 2000s, and somehow he was also so he was a college wrestler and a high school cross country runner, so he has the capacity. And wrestlers fucking train like psychopaths, for what it's worth. Like the wrestlers in college, they would like do 5-mile runs as warm-ups. They used to, in Erie, they used to run down to the peninsula, which was a 13-mile track. Once you got there, it was also probably like 10 miles off campus. So they would run to the peninsula, do the 13-mile loop, and then run back once a week. Like that was just weekly training, like put in a marathon basically.
Yeah.
It might have been a 6-mile loop, so I don't remember.
It ended up being like 20 some miles.
Yeah,
total.
something along those lines. They were basically like doing marathon training once a week. Like they were just absolute fucking sickos. So they certainly have it in them. At the time, he was rooming with Hasib. I'm not going to even attempt his last name because it is hard. Who was a Full Tilt Red Pro. And they had initially started the bet where Ashton was laying 3-1 on 70K. So he was risking 210 to win 70. And I guess as people don't remember, but like this was a huge story back in the day. Like I wasn't a big 2+2er, but there were threads upon threads upon threads about this with like the discourse back and forth between Ashton and his roommate, like how the bet escalated. Ashton was apparently like hungover when he decided to take the bet, like no prep whatsoever, no carb loading, no hydrating, nothing along those lines. Just
get
like
on and go.
Hopped on the treadmill and decide. And then the last part about it was by the time they were done negotiating, so they continued to add more money as the bet progressed. He finally got it to a point where I think he was risking like $800K to win 210. But by the time they got to that point, the lore was that he had his bankroll on the table. This was case money he was risking, that he was going to complete this fucking like if he lost, the $800K was all he was worth.
Right.
And he just fucking went for it. I just remember being so enamored by this bet when it happened, because it's like the idea of we should just do hard things is so intoxicating to me. It's so provocative, and it's so intriguing of like, yeah, man, like we don't push ourselves enough in life. Like we don't explore the outer limits of what we're capable of. And I'm not really a person who's like motivated by money. So the idea of prop bets pushing me to do this type of stuff has never been really all that appealing. But I understand the people that are motivated by money, and it's sick what they're able to fucking accomplish.
Yeah.
Like, hey, have you ever ran 70 miles in a day before? No. All right. Will you do it for 200,000? Where if you don't, you lose your entire net worth?
Right. Yeah.
I'm fucking in. It's like, what?
There's like enough adrenaline on the like if he was doing it for like a 10K bet, he might not have been able to make it, maybe, because
almost no shot,
right?
man.
Because
under those conditions, you wake up hungover, not
Yeah.
hydrated, not fed.
You're like whatever, you give up, but now your whole bankroll's on the line. The adrenaline is just kicking in because you know the alternative of losing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like some real sick stuff. He's quoted in the article saying, I had no idea I was going to do anything of that nature the night before. In fact, I hit my head extremely hard on a seat diving for a t-shirt at a Heat Magic game, and I had 6 drinks at Wolfgang Gartner at the Wolfgang Gartner concert at the House of Blues in Orlando.
Just going ham the night before.
Pretty much.
Dude, can we please bring up the footage of Hastings and Sean Winter at the gym?
Oh my God, I totally forgot about that one. That was a great prop too.
Jeez.
I don't remember. I don't know enough about like what they were actually betting, but it was that Sean could bench.
It's like a bench press bet.
It was like I think it was 285 pounds or 315 pounds, something along those lines.
Bro can't bench 315.
Yeah. Sean's strong.
Really?
Sean is strong, dude.
Man, because I only say that because I remember the video and it just fell on him.
No, it fell sideways. He dumped the weight, but he was drunk.
Oh, it's just, oh my God.
You know how much weight 315 pounds is to bench it all,
I get it.
let
It's a
alone
fucking
drunk?
ton.
Yeah,
My God.
I don't know
Do
if
we
that
have the
video
video?
exists anywhere, but to paint the picture while Landon looks for it.
Oh my God.
They were, I assume it was like the Hard Rock Gym, but they were in Florida, and somebody prop bet Sean that he couldn't bench press this obscene amount, like 285 or 305, something along those lines, drunk. And there's just footage in the gym. It starts with a shot of Hastings in the corner of the gym doing like dumbbell curls, just by him lonesome. And then it pans to Sean on the bench press, trying to get this house of a weight off of his chest until finally, like as he's halfway up there, he just dumps it sideways. It was really, really quite the entertaining bet.
Like a real good way to get yourself very injured.
When you're drunk, what do you care?
You know.
Also, it's like when you're drunk, that's like you know how like if you're falling or whatever, the worst thing you could do is try to break your fall. So like the idea of like if you pass out or whatever, you sustain less injuries because your body's relaxed.
Right.
Kind of the same thing, you know?
Yeah, maybe.
You know, you're drunk.
Man, I can only imagine the shit that you would have gotten into.
If I drank?
Like if you ever drank, yeah.
I'd
like
probably
the
be
prop
in
bets,
bad shape, man.
The I can fucking dunk this basketball right now.
I would be so easy to goat.
Yeah.
I would be so easy to goat into
God,
anything if I was drunk.
So easy. Yeah. We could all be rich.
Yeah. That's definitely facts.
Definitely get him good, get him drinking.
It would not take much to provoke me.
No, not at all.
I'm very certain of that. I did do one memorable prop bet that I remember. We were at a Seawolves game when I think we had already graduated college. I don't even remember how it came about, but there was a kid there that I think played at a rival college or something along those lines. And they had a speed gun. And those things are always like way off, because they don't. The best way to gun is like from behind the catcher. And I guess the second best way would be from actually behind the person throwing. But they would always have them like on an angle, so they're catching the ball well after it's released from your hand. So usually they're like 4 to 5 miles an hour slow, and I kind of knew that coming in. And the high The high mile per hour, I think at that point was like 81 or something along those lines. But the trick is, or not trick, but like you can get a little bit more of an accurate measurement the closer to the gun you are when you're releasing the ball.
That makes
right?
sense, right? Yeah.
And you're not like throwing off the mound. So you can obviously throw harder with like a crow hop and things of that nature. Like I only threw, 84, 85 from the mound, but I could probably hit like upper 80s with a crow hop.
Yeah.
So this kid who is like a pitcher at the rival school or whatever, he's there like, going through his windup and he's topping out at like 79, 80, like trying to break the high score. And I just remember betting him $20 that I could set the new high score, which to me wasn't a lot of money, but like, to college kids, that was a ton.
Yeah.
And I remember just like getting up there, seeing that the gun is like off in the upper left-hand corner and just being like, okay, I'm going to crow hop and I need my release to be like right at the line where the gun is. And I just come in and I just pop it for 86 right away and just turn around and walk off. It's like oh man, that felt good. And then my arm was just hanging.
Yeah.
No warm up, nothing. I'm just like walking around like, fuck, that was so dumb. Not worth $20.
Not worth 20.
Oh man. That was my baseball career in a nutshell. Throw as hard as you can, fight through the pain. Once the pain goes numb, then we just get through the inning.
I will say you did give me a pretty good time, but I did wreck you in our mile bet.
Oh yeah, that,
I surprised myself with
big
that.
Fish
actually.
bet there.
What do you mean?
I bet him that he couldn't run a mile in under 7.
Oh yeah.
Under 7 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which
Party did it in like 6, man.
No, I understand. Look, 7 is no feat, but if you literally have never ran, which having seen his form, I would have guessed that he had never ran.
Don't make this about me.
7's gonna be a pretty good line. Like most people are still gonna be able to do it, but like the idea of like falling under and running 7:20, 7:30, it's totally reasonable.
Do you know about a swimming bet between Bill and Mizzy?
Mm-mm.
Apparently they had a swimming bet.
There was a bet Huck Seed did way back in the day.
Oh yeah, I heard about it.
Where he bet that he could spend, I think, 12 hours in a body of water emerged up to his shoulders. Oh. And Helmy bet him $50K. So Huck put on a wetsuit and went into the ocean and just like sat down with the water up to his shoulders, quit after 3 hours.
Oh, man.
I was gonna say if he can shred water for 12 hours, that's insane.
Well, you don't have to tread.
No, you just have to stand in it.
Oh, you just have to stand there?
Yeah. But think about it. You have the current pulling you and like.
Right?
No, I mean I'm not saying it's easy.
Just do it in a pool? No,
yeah,
it
you
had to
could
be.
have.
Well,
But like
easier, right?
It would have been easier, but still almost an impossible bet.
Huck is like one of those demented humans that like you really don't want to bet.
He wanted to do the $30 or the 30-day dark bet for like way less money.
Yeah, like I said, exactly.
Like a cheeseburger.
He sees it as like a darkness retreat.
Yeah.
Some people literally go on like darkness retreats.
Yeah, but like those darkness retreats are like 24 hours or like 48. It's not fucking. Well, what did Aaron Rodgers do? I think he did like 2 or 3 days in the dark.
Did he?
Yeah, before making the decision whether or not he was going to go to the Jets. Obviously didn't help. He came to the wrong conclusion. Jesus, Chauncey.
Well, we're not giving up all that shit for they want.
That's what you think. Wow, another dinger, huh?
12 runs. So it's so funny because I tweeted like I don't know maybe like 20 minutes ago. I said the Pirates are good. That's the tweet, and then someone said, "Aren't you doing a podcast right now?" And somebody else responded. They said it's 19 games into the season. He said they're still going to finish in the basement of the division. And my immediate reaction was to respond with, "Bet me." I mean, I don't know this person, from Adam, but
I mean, I think that's a good bet to make. The
Right.
Reds are certainly worse, in spite of what Conrad thinks. Based
kill
off of
action here, man.
nobody watches this podcast, bro.
true,
It's okay.
yeah.
This is the podcast that nobody watches. We just kind of come here every day just to speak to the void.
Conrad saw 3 innings of a Reds game, and he's just like, "They're fucking good, man."
They hit the ball. They're good. I think they're going to be better than what we think. They're 7-11, but I think they can get it together.
By we, you
Would
just
you like
mean
to
you.
wager?
Yeah.
No,
Do you think they'll be better
shit.
than the Pirates?
No, the Pirates are my number 3 team this year. I told you guys.
Yankees,
Do you
Mets,
think
Pirates?
they'll finish better?
Oh,
Do you think
guys.
they'll finish better than last in the AL or NL Central?
Yes.
Yes.
No, the Reds.
Oh, the Reds.
Oh, who else is in your division?
Who cares?
Cubs.
Oh, yeah.
Bet me.
Yeah, sure. $100, Scott.
Oh my God.
$100.
Cubs suck.
Okay, $100.
Wait, can I want a piece
I have
of
the
it.
Reds.
I want some.
I'll give you some. Relax.
I have the rest of the division.
I have the Reds finishing last. You have the rest of the division.
Okay, cool. Also, fuck.
Another
What was
CSA?
it? Yes, there was another CSA, but I lost it. God damn it.
Please tell me it's JNandez. JNandez.
No, it wasn't JNandez, but it was good, and I forgot it. All right, we'll go on.
I don't know if there's anything else to go on to. I just made free money.
Well, fuck.
We've been here long enough. we stayed here long enough for me to get my $100 worth of good prop in. And
I just love rooting against you for a year.
They have a sword in the dugout.
Yes, they do.
Wait, really?
It's
Yeah.
the Zoltan.
Yeah, it's their sword. They bust it out every time they hit a home
Yeah,
run.
that's
God
right.
damn it! I had a CSA and I forgot it.
Well, we'll
Save
save
it
it
for tomorrow.
We'll save it for
man.
tomorrow.
What are we going to do without the
man.
CSA?
We'll have a Conrad announcement tomorrow for
Guess
all
the
you
show
guys.
is ruined.
Friday, my boy Thesaurus is on here.
That's right. He's going to come spitting hot fire.
We got it popping. Maybe we can get a tortoise
Another
in the main.
hit.
Talking about the rap battle streets. We can maybe get another verse added to the tortoise in the main. We're all here for that. Be sure to check out the new season of Poker Out Loud if you haven't already. It's on solveforwhy.io. Also, let us know what your favorite prop bets were throughout the dawn of the poker history. There's a lot of them dating way, way back to the Doyle ages that we didn't even get a chance to cover. So be sure to like, subscribe. Leave us a comment. Let us know what prop bets you've been involved in, what ones you'd like to see take place. While my man Sean Deeb's out there trying to lose half of his body and win $1 million for himself. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will be back here tomorrow noon. As always, I promise you, the Pirate game will be turned off tomorrow. You're going to have Lamanna fully engaged.
They play in the evening tomorrow.
Always a smart ass. We'll see you guys then.
Later, squad.
Peace.